Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Flavia. I am officially now a doctorate or a doctorate, I don't know how, a doctoral person or a PhD. My PhD is completed in the winter of 2026. This paper that I'm presenting to you today is my third paper. Thank you. Today is my third paper that I'm talking about, which examined the impact of information and communication technologies on the labor market in Canada, with a particular focus on working from home practices and how this has impacted also wages and work hours, looking also at the inequality that exists in the country, believe it or not, even from the point of view of internet resources. So what motivates our research is this culture paradigm that has changed tremendously, not only in Canada, but all over the world, in which working from home is now totally possible. Just to give you some perspective, before the pandemic, about 6% of the population, the labor force, would say that they would work at least on some type of hybrid work. And this has jumped to more than 40% at the peak of the pandemic. But even these days, about 20% of the labor force says that they do at least some type of hybrid work. Now, when we look at the map of the distribution of high-speed internet, and there is a formal definition for what high-speed internet is in Canada, we notice in this map in the middle that there are some important differences. This is a snapshot of what Canada looked like in terms of distribution of fixed broadband in 2019, the end of 2019, right before the pandemic. So you would see that there were important differences in terms of connectivity. And of course, you would imagine that small municipalities, rural municipalities, remote municipalities, and indigenous areas are the ones that will have fewer connectivity compared to the large and medium-sized centers. This is my graph on the right. I am sorry if it's a little bit small to you, but this is revealing to us the population coverage for high-speed internet resources in each of these geographical areas. So our paper examines whether the internet resources help to explain the working from home adoption, with a particular focus on those that use ICT resources to work from home. And this is the definition of telework by the International Labour Organization. And the second question that we want to explore is whether this working from home, the higher working from home take-up, will influence wages and work hours. And the third question that we examined is how this plays in terms of heterogeneity, in terms of gender, in terms of occupation, and geographic levels. So our research question or our research is supported by the use of instrumental variables. Our main instrument is snow on the ground. Snow is known to impact both the infrastructure on the ground, because lots of snow will bring a lot of humidity to the infrastructure, and also the aerial infrastructure of the internet. So it's damaging, and we show that in fact there is a negative relationship between the amount of snow accumulated on the ground on average and the high-speed internet resources. And we also use non-wearable lens as another supporting instrumental variable to explain this, the level of the internet. In terms of data sets that we use, that the RDC that were extremely important, the census data, and the panel of the labor force survey that has been asking this question of working from home or workplace status since the pandemic. We use two sets of internet resources or data sets at a very small geographic level known as dissemination area. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. And this snow on the ground comes from the Canadian Centre for Climate Services, and non-wearable lens from National Research Council Canada. These are geographic data sets. So what are our findings? In fact, there is a positive relationship between download speed, or how high the download speed can go, and working from home. These results that you see on the table are in standard deviations, and on the right, I'm translating for you what this means in terms of percentages for us to have a better idea. So a one standard deviation increase in download speed or high-speed internet increases the adoption of working from home in 16%. And when we filter for only those that are in teleworkable occupations, the take-up of working from home goes up to almost 34%. There is a positive impact on hourly wages and weekly hours as well, as I'm putting there on the right for you. So in terms of the takeaways and policy implications for this work, we are showing that, in fact, there is this positive relationship, which is confirmed in the literature for the United States and Canada using similar identification strategies. For policymakers, we want to call their attention on the relevance of digital connectivity. I mean, working from home and telework, this is something that it's not going away, it seems. 6 years after the pandemic, we all know this. We find that the ICTs are positively associated with wage and work hours, but we find some very interesting imbalances or important heterogeneity when we look at the gender, occupation, and region. I can answer you any questions if you have them. We find that especially wages and work hours, they are more relevant when there is approximately the maximum high-speed internet is available, which means large and medium-sized centers, and not for the other smaller regions. So we ask ourselves if this is a necessary conditions really to have the proper internet resources in place. And my final result that I would like to share with you is that I found very interesting results for occupation. So the internet reveals to be more important in terms of wages for the business occupations, but in terms of work hours, those in health occupations were the ones that worked more hours in response to more internet resources. And so this is my work. I'm sorry, this is very fast, and I'm looking forward to answer your questions if you have them. Thank you so much. I hope I am on time.
Thank you, Flavia. We have to move on to our next presenter, but if you have any questions, please reach out directly to Flavia.